Good day, everyone. Today we're going to discuss the lesson 1, which is the role of media in communication process. First, let me introduce myself. I am Rayami Pilabi, Chinelo Sabas, Arenda Larigos, Jennifer Adaya,
Miguel Abao, Jim Goldia, Miguel Silolabor.
Humans are social beings. Every day, we use communication to express our thoughts and opinions, to respond to other people, and to transact formal and commercial dealings, whether it be willingly or compulsory. Communication has been carved deeply in our existence that its loss and misuse would have a considerable effect on our everyday lives. To understand more the concept of communication, let us start by looking at the origin of the word and its definition. The root of the word communication in Latin is communicare, which means to share or to make common. Furthermore, communication is defined as the process of understanding and sharing meaning. With this, we can see how communication has a lot to do with information, sharing, and arriving at a common understanding. In this lesson, you will recognize the different components in the communication process, understand how these elements connect and influence each other, and describe how communication is influenced by media and information. Every day, we communicate countless times, and during these moments, miscommunication also inevitably exists. The most common causes of misunderstanding stems from problems in the elements of communication itself. In this part of the lesson, we will look further at the essential components of communication.
Components of communication. Although intrinsic in nature, communication is then a complex process that occurs through which information is sent, passed, or spread. Involves several elements. Elements which in turn have their own significant components. The book Business Communication for Success lists 8 essential components of communication. Number 1. Source. A person, group, or entity that portrays, sends, or forwards a message or information. Number 2. Message. The stimulus or meaning produced by the source for the receiver or audience, according to Macklin 2005. Number 3. Channel. The tool or manner in which the message will be carried through from the source to the receiver. Number 4. Receiver. Receives the message from the source, analyzing and interpreting the message in ways both intended and unintended by the source, according to Macklin 2005. Number 5. Feedback. The message or response of the receiver, which is sent back to the source.
Number 6. Environment. The atmosphere, physical, and psychological, where various things are received messages. Number 7. Context. The communication interaction involves receiving, send, and explanation of that individual involved. And the last one, interference, anything that blocks or changes the source's intended meaning of a message.
Before we look into the role of media and information, we should be able to fully grasp the concepts and nature of communication first. To be better understand this process, let us look them through the communication models. The communication process through models. Harold Laswell's communication model shows one-way transmission of information and simply illustrates how communication starts in a sender who transmits the message through a channel to intended receiver, consequently with a corresponding effect. These channels become in the form of spoken video or through digital or technological instruments like phones, computers, and the like. This model attempts to answer the question who says, what to whom, and through what medium, and with what effect.
Shannon and Weaver's communication gap. A development of Glasgow's models is a version breakdown, channel, and variant, which takes into account the concept of loss. Much like in Glasgow's, this model also indicates how communication starts with the information source moving into the message and use of transmitting word. The signals that are sent and received can vary depending on the method of communication. However, the difference of the models comes from the incorporation of noise. Noise refers to anything that may interfere, stop, or alter the message being carried.
David Berlot is MCR, Communication Model. Years later, David Berlot developed Shannon and Weaver's model, shifting the focus to the context, environment, and other factors surrounding the participants involved in the communication process. These factors include the following: communication skills such as reading, writing, speaking, listening, and watching. Knowledge about the subject or topic, attitude toward the topic and the audience. Social and cultural aspects that influence the content of the message and the manner by which it is sent.
Forms of communication. Communication may come in different forms. These forms may vary and differ in terms of participants, channel use, and context. The following are the 5 forms of communication. Number 1. Interpersonal communication. It is a form of communication with oneself using internal vocalization of reflection thinking. We exercise interpersonal communication more often than we consciously remember. We do it every time we quietly decide on what to when we contemplate on what decisions to make, or even make observations or formulate opinions about the things around us which we keep to ourselves. 2. Interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication is a form of communication between two different people, may or may not have a direct relationship with each other but are mutually and actively part of the communication process. Interpersonal communication can be planned or unplanned, but since it is interactive, it is usually more structured and influenced by social expectations. Group communication. It is a type of communication between 3 or more people interacting to achieve a specific objective or a certain goal. This form of communication often happens during team-based tasks, mostly done in school, works, or organizational endeavors. Public communication. It is a sender-focused form of communication in which one person is typically responsible for conveying information to an audience. This form is usually seen during campaigns, speeches, or other public speaking events. Among the other forms of communication discussed so far, this is most formal, intentional, and goal-oriented type. Next one is mass communication. Public communication becomes mass communication when it is transmitted to many people through print or electronic media. In the past, print media such as newspapers and magazines and broadcast media like TV and radio have been the most used channels for mass communication. However, the advent of technology, mass communication has slowly and strategically shifted its medium to the internet world through websites and social media.